Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to United Front. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. That's Christina. We're not late. We promise. We're not late. We're here.
We're right on time.
Yeah, we're right on time. We are here. Welcome in, guys. It's Tuesday night. We don't have a whole lot of club news to get through this week. Tonight is scheduled to be our annual season preview. Harry Austin will be here in just a few minutes, the official fourth member of the show. He'll be here. Jacob will be along shortly. But in the meantime, you've got Christina and myself. So, Christina, first, how are you? How are things? I know the weather's starting to change. Lots of people are getting sick right now or getting over being sick. How are you and the family doing? Are you guys ready for like springtime activities finally?
Family, yeah, we're all doing really good. Last week my daughter had her 18th birthday,
Oh,
so
congratulations.
I officially feel extra old now. I was already feeling old having a senior, but now that she's 18, and I gotta say, it wasn't even shortly after midnight before I started getting messages from Apple saying, "Lily is an adult now. You can't manage her screen time," or
Oh, no.
"You can't manage your Apple Cache," or just all the different companies couldn't wait to let me know that my daughter
Mhm.
is an adult now.
Okay.
Um, but all in all, we're doing really well. I just mentioned to you before we went live, March is a busy month for me,
Mhm.
so I think I'll be happy once we hit April. Like, made it.
Okay. Well, that's completely understandable, and while I can't relate to the idea of, not being able to control screen time and spending and things like that on phones and devices, I got an email somewhere. So years ago, I set up emails for my kids so they would have an email address, because you don't want them having like gamer dude 792, right? So I got them both email addresses. I set it up, and so every now and then I'll send an email to them so they have something from me. I get emails because my oldest is 13. I goes, hey, he has access to his account all by himself now. He doesn't need you anymore. I'm like, oh man, like really?
Yep, they start
So
early.
they do. It's like, oh yeah, he can make changes to his own account now, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, no, spring is definitely here. There are allergies and illnesses going around, and a coworker of mine texted us this morning and said, "Hey, this wedding I went to over the weekend was a COVID super spreader event,
Oh,
and
no.
of the 16 individuals who went, 11 of them now have COVID."
Oof. Yep,
Yeah.
that was the super spreader.
I thought we were done with this type of stuff, but no, no, obviously COVID is not gone, but
No,
the idea of
it's here to stay.
the idea of a super spreader event now here 6 years later is still kind of a weird thing to hear. So, but yeah, lots of people dealing with allergies. My son's dealing with allergies. Um, my oldest has made the soccer team at his middle school. So
Yay!
yeah, we get to deal with APS athletics now. Last time he tried out, he didn't make the team, but he was also a sixth grader at that point. So I get it. But
Right.
he's one of two eighth graders on the team. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, potential new signing, Bolte says.
We'll see.
In just a few years, he'll be
Yeah.
eligible.
Yeah. And so he and I have kind of talked about it a little bit. He goes, because he is a talented kid. Like he is athletic, and I've always encouraged him to try different things and whatnot. And along the same lines, hey, if you stay focused on one sport, I have a feeling you could be really good, right? But he just wanted to try everything. So I said, hey,
You say that because I just watched a podcast with Abby Wambach
mhm,
and was Gail King, maybe. They were talking about how nowadays kids only do one sport,
mhm.
but when you look at the percentage of Olympian athletes, they grow up playing multiple sports.
Oh, okay.
It's better as far as learning all the different coordination
Mhm.
and, like, basketball skills carry over into soccer. Like, they talked about Kobe Bryant and how he used to work with a soccer coach
Mhm.
um, to improve his foot skills for the basketball court.
Okay.
So
I didn't know
don't
that.
don't forget, go ahead and let your kiddos play lots of sports. Apparently,
Yeah. Yeah, so it's exciting, for like I said, first time doing school sports, and we've talked about it, it's a good way to get in, as you get into high school, right? Because it
hmm
opens up a whole other world of things that you can do. And he's like, "Do you think I could ever maybe go pro?" I was like, "Man, you never know, but you got to work." And I said, "United recruits kids in high school, so I don't know. Hey,
yeah.
NMR, I got a potential talent for you." So um, no, I don't know. We'll see. Like, it's one of those things where, like, if you watch your kids enough, where they excel and where they don't, right?
hmm
And
hmm
he does. Like, my son he's smart. He's in gifted classes, but he's not the kind of person that you just go, "Oh, yeah, I see it," right? My youngest, absolutely, right? He's one of those kids where you just, you hear him talk and that he's smart. Well, my oldest,
hmm
he's just, again, very athletic, loves to do sports, has tried so many different things. And right now he's like, "Do it." And he goes, "Man, maybe I can still do basketball on the weekends too." I'm like, "Dude,
Keeping you busy, Seth.
yeah, yeah." I was looking at his schedule. He actually has some weeks where he has 2 games.
Wow.
So yeah, and like in middle school sports, who knew? I mean, I played basketball through middle school, but I don't remember it ever being like that. But who knows? So yeah, excited for that. Lots of things going on there. Exciting things at the same time, also unfortunate going on in El Paso over the weekend. In case you didn't see the report,
How could you?
um,
How could you not have? But
well,
just
so
in case.
when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, it's just one outlet. Like, is this like a legit thing?" And then
Right.
like multiple other outlets started picking up on this. So apparently, Cristo Fernandez, Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso, is trialing with the locomotive. Uh, I mean, now I've if you follow the show, you've gotten to know the actors and those involved. And he is a footballer. He does play
hmm
football.
Yep.
So, but to hear that he's trialing with El Paso, played 30 minutes against United over the weekend. And the
Well,
fact that this
when
did
you
not get out at all on Saturday.
right, yeah, that was pretty good. Secret
Yeah.
kept there. Well, when you first texted the group to say that he played, I didn't make the connection. So my
Mhm.
initial reaction was, "That's really cool." But then when I realized it was against El Paso, I was like, "Oh, that's not
Yeah.
quite so cool." And then I thought to myself, just being, you know, bratty, that he's an actor,
Mhm.
so I'm surprised he didn't actually, try out for Phoenix Diving
Yeah.
because, they're like the cream of the crop when it comes to acting on the pitch.
That it is. Harry, are you good? I don't know.
Potentially. Ooh,
Potentially?
I is he
Alright.
connecting from the car?
Yeah. Yep. Alright. Harry,
Can you
you
hear me?
good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey. Hey,
I'm in the
Harry.
car,
Yeah.
waiting to pick up my son from a disastrous game.
A
Oh,
disastrous
no.
game. Uh-oh. We were just talking our kids and sports and activities. What happened? How is AJ? What happened?
They
How was the
got
game
rolled
tonight?
4-0 or 4-1.
Mhm.
It was bad enough that our coach, did not allow handshakes at the end of the game, which
Whoa.
normally that they do. So it was, yeah, they just it was one of those games that they didn't get off the bus, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
High school
High
sports,
school, right? High
yes,
school? Yeah.
yeah. So, but
It
no,
sounds
it's
Yeah.
going
similar
well.
to a preseason match that we're not gonna talk about,
Well, you guys
beyond,
not
Danny
only had a
Rojas.
preseason game, but also an actor played, and still the result was what it was.
Yeah,
Right?
actor played 30 minutes. I was doing some more reading. Apparently, he also trialed with Chicago Fire earlier in the preseason as well and scored a goal in one of their matches.
He's got talent.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, yeah. I mean, gotta be careful though. He's been known to kill some birds Or was it dogs?
It was
Or
a dog.
both?
He killed the dog. Yeah. Yeah. Killed the dog.
I
So
would
yeah.
say something, but I don't want to bring in the politics of it.
Well, who knows? Maybe we can
Uh,
convince one of the supporters groups to take a dog down on the pitch when we play El Paso this year. I mean,
Oh yeah, if he ends up getting signed, maybe it'll be our pups on the pitch match.
Yeah.
That
in
would
all
be fun.
seriousness, according to Sirius Loco, El Paso is very thin on announced roster.
mhm.
Mm.
So, because they're complaining about, who's going to be on the actual pitch.
Yeah.
And especially where it is game. I don't know if you guys have got into it. It's allegedly week 1.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't think they play personally, but
Yeah. Allegedly, we haven't quite gotten into it just yet. We were kind of vamping and buying some time, and it's definitely going to be one of the big topics tonight. But I mean, we were just talking about Cristo Fernandez. He is a footballer. I mean, with El Paso being thin, as is reported, what are the odds that Cristo actually makes the club in El Paso?
I say 0.
You think so? 0.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it 50%.
50%.
The reason why I say 0 is he makes a whole lot more being an actor than he does playing USL soccer.
He probably makes more in one episode than he than he would make an entire season.
I don't mean that in a bad way. Just
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't imagine El Paso coming anywhere close to, an episode's worth of salary. So Jacob is here. I think he's staring intently at something. There he is. Jacob, great timing. You ran a little bit late tonight. We were just talking Cristo Fernandez trialing for El Paso.
He should have trialed for Phoenix.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's an actor. It comes natural.
He's a way better actor than them, though.
True.
So he's too good of an actor for Phoenix. And he's probably too good of a soccer player for El Paso. So I don't know where he should have gone, but
seems like everybody's going to Lexington, so maybe.
Yeah.
That's right.
Or Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa.
Yeah, definitely some options there. What are the odds he makes a club somewhere? Or is he, obviously Tabasco's in production right now.
El Paso's signing him.
You think so?
How much he plays, I don't know, but I think he makes the squad in El Paso at least to start.
He certainly boosts their advertisement, their online presence, their clout.
Yeah. He's for sure I won't say a circus act, but definitely an attention grabber that otherwise El Paso wouldn't have right now. So
yeah,
how much he actually helps them on the pitch, I have no clue. If he can channel his Danny Rojas, then potentially a lot. But
I mean, they scored plenty of goals against us. I'll say that.
but in all seriousness, how serious of a league is USL if they do sign him?
Well, didn't he play professionally prior?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He's 30 years old.
He's 35. Thank you.
Oh.
35?
Yeah.
Is he 35? I saw 30. I didn't know 35.
I don't know. I will find out. But
35's up there.
Yeah, he is 35. If signed, he would be the oldest player on the current El Paso roster.
Why? To me, I could see him signing a 25-day contract just for
funsies,
promos, but from a league aspect, I don't think it's a good sign personally.
I don't like it's one team making that. Like I think that reflects more on El Paso than it does the league as a whole. It's not like every team is going out and making gimmicky signings like this, and so I don't think it's a detriment to the league. I don't even necessarily think it's a detriment to El Paso necessarily. He's obviously, from what I've read, he's been trying to make a team for the whole offseason here, and if El Paso who he ends up sticking with, then so be it. But I definitely don't think it's a league-wide detriment whatsoever. I mean, this is the same league that has, not only do we have the stars that have been in USL for a while, but you have teams like Lexington signing Jonathan Lewis. You've got Mark Anthony Kaye coming down. You've got Latif Blessing coming down. Plus, you have these up-and-comers. Orange County has a trio of guys that are teenagers that probably have potential to get signed in Europe. And so, yeah, I think the league as a whole, not CBA related, but the league as a whole, I think is relatively good shape as far as talent is concerned. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum on here about how the talent level from 2019 to now is just night and day difference. And so, just one actor / former pro coming to El Paso, I don't think changes my feeling on how the league is performing right now.
Yeah, so you mentioned again he's been trying to make a team this offseason. He was trialing with Chicago. To correct myself slightly, he was trialing with Chicago Fire 2 and scored against Forward Madison.
Which Forward Madison said that's not true because they beat Chicago Fire 2 4-0.
I see that.
So nobody scored nobody for Chicago Fire 2 scored that game. So definitely some questions going on there. But one thing I think we know for sure is that he is with El Paso, or at least he was last weekend. And from what the Seriously Loco guys are saying, it seems like they're going to sign him to something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if he's good enough, I mean, and he's not doing the acting thing anymore and commits, like, I mean, why not? Right? I mean, it can't be more of a joke than what we're facing, or more of a detriment to the league than what we're facing right now. We're 3 days away from the opening kick of the season. We don't have a CBA in place. I know we were kind of sort of chatting about it earlier, and this is kind of the monkey in the room, the elephant in the room right now, right? There's no CBA. You've got a club that has folded. You've got USLPA
League One
already.
League One.
Yeah, League One. A League
Which
One club
doesn't have a CBA. So to be fair.
Well, League One does. It's on a set. It's not the same CBA. But you've got the USLPA, who has already authorized a strike. They have not taken that step yet, but they've authorized it. So the clubs, the league, and the Players Association is still in negotiations this week. A federal mediator is involved, according to reports. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. We weren't too concerned about a month ago. 3 days away from the opening kick of the regular season of USL Championship. We are just over 2 weeks away from the start of the Open Cup play for USL Championship. Where do we go? I mean, I was doing some research over the past 35 years. There have been a number of work stoppages throughout the major U.S. sports. Some in season, some of them out of season. We saw, all of the 1994 MLB playoffs get lost. We've seen the NHL lockouts. I mean, now those leagues are big enough; they can survive those. We all remember the scabs in Major League Baseball. We all remember all that type of stuff. But you can't really do that with football, right? So if we come Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern rolls around, there's no CBA in place. Does Players Association say, hey, we're going to authorize an extension, or no, we're done and we're shutting this down until we have a deal?
Who plays Friday night? Lou City and Tampa, maybe?
I have to look.
There's a game Friday night, right?
There is a game Friday night, yeah.
Lou City and Lexington.
Yeah.
Lexi. Oh,
I will say this. If there's going to be a strike, I think it's announced. What, today's Tuesday?
Yeah.
By Thursday. And the reason why is you can't be having teams on planes and then striking at that point. So I think if there's going to be a strike, I think there will be, because if I'm the USL Players Association, you can't start playing and then strike. I think you lose your momentum. So I could see them striking for week 1, and then hopefully everybody comes to the table, it gets resolved. Along those lines.
so I'm guessing he's saying strike for week 1, get their shit together for week 2, in time for U.S. Open Cup.
Well, I just think if they miss 1 or 2 games, that's doable.
Mhm.
But if if the players start playing and then try to cancel, I think you lose. And part of the thing is you got the World Cup coming up as well. So if you're gonna strike, the time is to strike now. That way, it's far enough out from the World Cup to where, where it's gonna have an impact, but it'll have a minor impact. If you play a month and we get to April and then you strike, to me that's a whole lot. And I know a month isn't that much, but because the World Cup's what, June?
We are 100 days away. Yeah, June.
So you're getting into that World Cup window to where, let's be honest, both sides, players and the league, want to capitalize on that because it benefits both of them.
Yeah, that it does. And I'd argue we're already in that window, to be honest with you. And right now, neither side is really wanting bad press, right? The longer this drags out, the more you get people like us, the more you get major news outlets. You get the AFL-CIO, you get other players' unions stepping in and siding with the players and bringing even more light to it.
But here's where I think the advantage for USL right now is with the geopolitical stuff between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. This isn't going to be on the radar compared to, because that's at a whole different level when it comes to the World Cup. So that's going to dominate that story, at least, hopefully, very short term that they have that. But to me, like I said here, I think it's just the perfect window where, from a league aspect and a player's aspect, there's other questionable news that impacts the World Cup, like is Iran even going to be able to play? Along those lines, that, no offense, USL sitting out a week or 2 isn't really going to be a story, that it impacts much in the world of soccer. And I hate saying that, but just being honest.
I think anytime you have a work stoppage like that, it's going to make headlines. It's probably not going to get a 3 or 4 day news cycle out of it, but I think you get some headlines for 24, 48 hours. And I kind of wonder if is any press good press at this point. I don't think the USL would be doing this, but if you are a soccer league in America going into a World Cup year that is relatively obscure and unknown like we are, but then all of a sudden ESPN is having headlines about the USLPA authorizing a strike, I think it would make, relatively big news in the sports world for there to be a strike. and would get the USL league name out there. And if it's just a week, if they strike this week and then miraculously come Monday morning, the USL league office gives in to everything the players wanted and everything's kumbaya, and now all of a sudden we have a league, is the negative press that is still getting our name out there something that the league might be thinking about at this point? I think personally it's stupid if we go to a work stoppage, because you have this momentum of D1 and you have this momentum of the World Cup and you have this momentum of like, hey, we're bringing down these MLS players. We've got, Philip Goodrum, who's a league star, moving from one rival to another on a transfer fee that's through the roof. And you have Danny Rojas coming in to El Paso, and you have all these positive storylines. It would be stupid on everybody's part to let this happen. But if it does happen, I wonder if they're kind of looking at it like, hey, we're getting our name out there in a hot button or like a hot season for soccer in North America. And now maybe these people that might not know we exist. It might be for a bad reason, but if we can minimize the damage by having a short strike, a short work stoppage, and then get right back to the action right after we go make headlines for being on strike, could that draw some eyes to us with the World Cup coming up? I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just kind of throwing it out there as a idea that I've thought of this afternoon after we talked about it in the group chat. I kind of was like, well, wonder if that makes at least a little bit of sense. And I think there's an argument to be made for that. Whether it's a good argument, I don't know, but it could be. I still am like 75% thinking that a deal gets done tomorrow or today, late hours today, tomorrow morning, Thursday. But like Harry said, I do think Friday morning, early Friday morning is probably when we will hear if there's a strike or not. Because Friday the game is Lou City Lexington, so it's a stone's throw from each other. And so as long as something comes out by noon on Friday, I don't think it interferes with team travels or anything like that, unless there's some teams flying out the day before to go to
But that's what you have to do though, because you're supposed to be in the other city 24 hours before.
True.
My understanding.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm thinking Friday morning is when they'll strike if we don't have a deal. And I'm still like cautiously optimistic that we have one by then, just because it would be so stupid to have a stoppage right now, in my opinion. And I think everybody knows that. I've been semi-adamant that I'm not like 100% on the player side, which I know could get me crucified in most people's eyes, just because I don't know exactly what's being asked, and I don't know exactly where like the business side of the league stands, and so I'm kind of just like, okay, I don't know shit about what's going on. So I'm just going to sit here and pray that something gets done so we don't miss any games. Luckily, United doesn't play this weekend anyways. And so if there is a strike for 1 week, we are not affected as far as game wise. So I'm just kind of hoping that if it doesn't get done by Friday, it at least gets done by the following week.
Even with us not playing. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I find myself worried that the clubs that are the problem clubs, the ones that are the culprits behind such horrendous work conditions, they just simply, I question whether they're even in a financial position to comply with any kind of an agreement that the players are seeking.
I don't think they are.
And it doesn't look good for the USL to be wanting to start this D1. Oh, we lost Harry. So I feel like that's a huge hurdle, is getting all of the clubs on the same page. That's one thing, but all of the clubs being able to afford what is necessary, that's a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah, and that has sparked some of the discussion around the CBA and the vetting of the league. And obviously, the story about Tormenta ties into that as well, right? Tormenta failed to make workers' compensation payments. So that's a problem. But it's and eventually they came out and they said, we secured loans to cover this. But is this also points to a failure on the USL side, right? Not just at the club level, but the league level, vetting these clubs, ensuring that there's stability. And ideally, you're not going to see any of these clubs missing payments on anything, failing to adhere to standards. But when you see some of the complaints that Players Association is putting out, it is concerning that there doesn't appear to be a minimum standard for these clubs and how they're being run and allowed to enter the league, other than just paying the entry fee. So I think there is concern, no matter what happens. And even looking at, Harry mentioned, he thinks that a strike is announced by Thursday. I don't disagree. I think we do strike this week. I truly do. Now, how long does that strike last? I don't know. But the other side of that is what happens to the games that are missed, because the schedule's already changed this year. We've already got, World Cup. We've got other breaks built into it. Where do those matches go? Do we replay them later in the season? Do we tack in midweeks? What happens if we miss the Open Cup? Does USL forfeit all of their matches in that round of the Open Cup? Which that format's already changed this year as well to accommodate World Cup also.
I think yes, they get rescheduled, the regular season matches, and yes, we forfeit the Open Cup, which is yet another reason why I don't think it goes that long. But I'm not I wouldn't I would not be shocked if there is a stoppage and all that happens. I think it would be a huge mistake, but I would not be shocked.
Well, let me ask you this. If you think we reschedule those matches, right? Let's say, I could understand 1-2 matches, right? But if if a strike occurs and it drags on for a month and a half, which obviously would be less than ideal for everybody, right? Do you then reschedule 4 to 6 matches for these clubs?
No. What happened during COVID?
I'm under the assumption that it's just one match. That's if it's just 1 week, I think it gets rescheduled. So COVID, they ended up rescheduling. They redid the whole schedule and redid because instead of league wide, it was like you were in your little pods and you only played those 4 teams 18 times. And so that was a completely revamped thing,
because that all hit mid-March.
Yeah, and I think we didn't play.
Right at the beginning of the season. We played one game.
Yeah, and then we didn't start back up till June. So, but no, I think if it's one match, it's rescheduled. If it's multiple matches, then they might have to, for us, and I think Loudoun, I don't think plays until the 14th. So there'll have to be some tweaks to get everybody on the same number of games, unless they did it. I think was it COVID? The one of the years they did it by points per game.
Yeah, that was.
And so, but I don't think they do that. I think they would just get it to where everybody's on equal terms game wise, whether that's 29, 26, 25, whatever the number is, depending on how many games are missed. But at this point, there's so many unknowns that it's kind of all right, let's just, hold our breath and wait and see, because there's so many different things that could happen that we don't know. Eric, to answer your question, you missed me missing about 10 minutes. And then some talk about Danny Rojas and El Paso, and then some talk about the strike and the situation there. So not a lot in the grand scheme of things, especially since I wasn't here for 10 minutes. You didn't miss much.
Snooze fest.
Yep, exactly. Really not a whole lot of club news for us. Harry, what's been going on with San Antonio? Tell us a little bit about the preseason.
We get kits on Thursday. We don't have the kits, but
we don't have kits.
I was going to say we get a kit announcement at 9. And
Mhm,
then at noonish, we get the strike announcement. That's my guess.
On Thursday. Yeah, that
Yeah.
sure. And I'll still buy a kit. I'll tell you that much. I'll still go to the Black and Yellow Bash and I'll still buy a kit.
Pretty much. So, Harry, what's going on in the San Antonio land? We haven't talked to you recently.
I don't know. It's preseason. I hate our goalkeeper.
Oh,
Sanchez is still the starter, I think, which I don't think. I saw him play Houston Dynamo 2. They looked okay. I think the midfield will be a little bit better. They played a 3-back as opposed to the 4 that they did last year. So I think, and we'll get into predictions here. I think San Antonio is a playoff team. I just don't know if they are a top 4 team as of yet. We've got to see how the puzzle gets put together. I think is the big thing. It's hard with preseason because they don't really give you any information, and just like with your score, do you think El Paso is really that much better than New Mexico United? No, but it's so hard. That's why I think the first 4 games is really kind of where the team kind of comes into. Although, as we saw with San Antonio last year, the first 4 games they were undefeated, even though there were some questionable ways on how they got wins, and it proved to be those questionable ways were issues. So.
Fair enough. So, I mean, are there any initial impressions from? And obviously, we've had our talks about who's made a splash, and obviously Lexington is spending some money, Tampa's spending some money,
spending a lot of money,
Yeah. Who has stood out to you in their roster construction so far? Not necessarily in terms of like where you think they're going to finish, but who has stood out either through the money spent, names that recognizable names, or just like, hey, I think that what they're doing is really interesting.
Oh, I think Lexington's a team that went all in, and if they come up short, you kind of wonder, did they put all the eggs in one basket?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I've been around this sport too long in the United States to be like, oh, hey, we've seen teams that jump in like this, and then all of a sudden, hey, where'd you go? And I'm not saying Lexicon's going away by any means, but they didn't draw well last year. How are they paying for this?
Right. I don't know. I know Jacob and I, we've had a number of discussions about what Lexington is doing, and it's interesting, right? They're definitely splashing the cash and trying to make a run at the East, and we'll see what happens with that. So, all right, guys. Well, it is that time for our annual prediction show. Here, real quick, I was trying to pull up our predictions from last year.
Oh, I deleted. I was trying to clean it off here.
I made a new.
There you
tab.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I made a new
there
tab.
You go.
Nope. There we go. So let's take a look back at last year here real quick. And obviously, we are not experts in what we're doing. So here's where things
I would argue we are.
Okay.
But the USL is just super hard to predict. I think a lot of the thought process was right. A lot of the results were wrong.
So yeah, I mean, clearly we all missed on Tulsa even making the playoffs, except for Harry. Harry had Tulsa in there at 8. Bless you, Christina. Man, who else were we just like completely off on? We were all right on Monterey. We had
Three of you
El
were very
Paso.
wrong on El Paso.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
was wrong on El Paso, but not very wrong. I didn't have them in the playoffs, and they ended up hosting a playoff game, but
What
I
about
at least
Hartford?
didn't have them last.
Yep, we were split on Lexington, 2 in, 2 out. Lexington obviously missed the playoffs. We had 3 in favor of Las Vegas. Jacob, you were very, very wrong on Las Vegas.
I was super wrong on Las Vegas. I wanted to believe in their momentum from Sanchez, and I was completely off. And then everybody, I mean, the truth of the matter, I mean, other than Vegas and Monterey, it was pretty tightly bunched there from 4 to 10. If you, I mean, not tightly bunched there, but I mean, it was a few results away from being drastically different in the West, anyways. And so, yeah, and honestly, I was sitting in my office earlier today, looking at this year, and I mean, I could see 11 of the 12 teams making the playoffs pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just don't know. And then I find the 12th team that I had was Monterey Bay. Shocker. They're signing Sebastian Lletget from MLS all of a sudden. And so I'm like, well, I don't know if he's going to give them too much, but they're trying.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they pull a couple more signings that move the needle, then I could see them making the playoffs. So from top to bottom, I think the West is going to be very interesting. And I'm curious where you guys have everybody, because it was difficult for me to place people.
Yeah, that it was. Quickly, biggest shock for you, good or bad, from last season with the West?
Tulsa.
Yeah, Tulsa, hands down.
I didn't know what to expect from Tulsa. Like Tulsa, Oakland, Orange County, they're all kind of just like they were all like floating in the atmosphere of like, I don't know what to expect from them.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to turn around and not just win the West, but like dominate the way they did, was mind-boggling.
Yep. Yeah, I know none of us were particularly high on Las Vegas, except for Jacob. But I mean, Las Vegas just bottomed out last year. Obviously, loss of Sanchez and a number of players hurt them, and they just did not live up to any sort of expectation whatsoever with that. So,
and I'm not surprised by that, though. That doesn't, like, I'm not like, oh wow, I can't believe they sucked. And so, yeah.
Yep. All right. Over in the East, we were all pretty good on our 1s and 2s. Harry, you were a little bit higher on Rhode Island than a little bit higher than the rest of us. Obviously, we all missed slightly on Rhode Island here. But yeah, Lou City Battery, we had them flipped. We all obviously Battery didn't underperform. Battery did very well, at least in the regular season, I should say. Tampa Bay, we were all off on Tampa. Tampa just became a shit show, and then Legion as well. We all had Legion in the playoffs. Legion finishing last in the East. Yeah, Harry, you specifically mentioned Hartford. Well, none of us had Hartford in the playoffs. Hartford finished 5th in the table. So, and we all missed on Loudoun as well. What do you guys think went right for these two clubs that we just missed on, after knowing very little last preseason?
Tampa wet the bed.
Mm-hmm.
Then like really wet the bed, and I guess Legion too, right? I think most of us were high on Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know Loudoun and Hartford were 5-6, so it's not like they squeaked into the playoffs, but somebody had to fail for that to happen, and Tampa and Birmingham were the ones that shit the bed and opened the door for teams like Hartford and Loudoun and North Carolina. North Carolina was a big miss for me as well.
Rip North Carolina.
Yeah, and so really, we've done this 2 or 3 years now, and all it shows me is that it's a fool's errand, because nobody freaking knows. Nobody had Tulsa winning the West. Like, the only things that we can pretty much pencil in is Lou City and Charleston are going to be really good. and probably finish 1-2 in the East. And so
You could probably also put Miami at the bottom.
maybe, but I mean, Miami probably at the bottom. Well, I don't have Miami last, just for the record, or do I? Never mind, I do. Sorry, Miami. And in the West, I think we can agree that Vegas and Monterey are probably the two teams that we feel the least confident in, but who knows there. So yeah, there's just no there's no guarantees in this league whatsoever, because it's just everybody's jumbled up in there, and you could see anybody break out or fall apart.
Very true. Yeah, it's not like, a prediction saying that the Dodgers are going to win the next 5 World Series. So, because
Yeah, but there's a salary cap, or a lack of a salary cap there, and so
there's a salary cap. They're just going to defer the money until 2050.
fair. There's not a salary cap in the MLB.
That is true.
They just don't want to fork it all up right now.
Yeah,
But that's
they
another
have
pod.
a luxury tax. So.
Yeah, that's another pod for another day. But it's, I don't know. We'll see. And then not only do we have, like, obviously North Carolina's gone this year, but we also add in 2 expansion teams this year that we have to figure out what to do with in the East. And so very, very much like a who the hell knows what's going to happen here. So let's see. We'll throw some stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, Jacob, you mentioned it. 2 new teams in the East this year, Brooklyn FC, and you've got Sporting Jacksonville. So, let's start with the East, the clubs that we know the least about. Zip ties. God. I figured that's what it was, but all right. Who's the wooden spoon this year? Is it the East? Is it the West?
I think it's the West, because I think the competition in the West is going to be brutal. And if it's Monterey Bay or Miami or Vegas, I think they really, really fall, because everybody else in the West is really good or has potential to be really good. The East, you're going to have like 4 or 5 teams at the bottom that can kind of beat each other up and maybe get some points there and finish a little higher.
All right. You guys should all have the link. It's over in our behind the scenes chat. So let's hop on in and we'll go through it. So and along the same lines, obviously, wooden spoon is something we talk about every year. Do we think that the West has gained any ground on the East this year?
Well, hold on.
I think the West is better than the East flat out, and I think that was the case last year, at least from top to bottom.
The East won 1 title, and Seth is crowning them.
No.
That's just what you said.
No, the interconference play, right? The East has typically done better.
No, they haven't.
No.
Last year, yes, they did. The couple of years before that, they did not.
No, I think you have that flip, Terry. I think last year the West won.
The West sucked. No, the West sucked against the East last year.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was close.
No, we'll have to look that up.
We can obviously check ourselves on that. So,
Jamie, look that up for us while we're doing this.
Yeah, I feel like the West was consistently losing to the East Coast teams. It really helped United out a lot.
Yeah,
that is true. But yeah, obviously, the interconference is going to be slightly different this year as well. So, let's start at the bottom. Do the newcomers make a splash? Do Brooklyn FC and Sporting Jacks make the playoffs? Do they shadow the line? Who finishes bottom in the East?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
It is not going to be an expansion team.
agreed.
It's going to be the
Birmingham Legion.
Birmingham.
Dang.
Ooh.
That's a hot take.
The Fighting Kailers. What have they done this season? Have they brought in anybody that you could name?
Bryce Washington.
That's it. They've lost a lot,
They have lost a lot.
Yeah, but they were also
they
shit
were-
last year, so
and they haven't brought in anybody.
they have just not names that we recognize, which I'm okay with.
Oh, here, well, we'll take a look while we're talking here. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody, but I mean, you look at the roster as it stands. Ronaldo Damas, obviously, proven talent, but he is not a spring chicken anymore. Tyler Pasher, other than that, I mean,
I don't think we need to break down the bottom of the East in such great detail. Almost an hour in the podcast, as much as I would love to. Yeah, they have some talent. I don't think they're going to finish last. I don't think they make the playoffs, but I don't think they finish last.
yeah, that's tough. I mean,
So put your money where it is. Or what? No, just joking.
That's the thing is I have them like 10th, so it's not a huge difference, and I don't think they sniff the playoffs. So I agree with you in some principle. I just don't think they finish last.
Yeah, I got you.
yep. Yeah, I've got Miami. I have zero faith in Miami. Like,
I agree
Don't they
with
have a
that.
new stadium this year,
I think so.
or is that next year?
It might be next year.
Because as long as they're playing in the owners' football stadium that nobody goes to or visits, and it's like it's like watching a high school soccer game with probably just as many people there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's do that. But no, I think Legion will be worse than Miami this year.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't think Legion improves greatly, if at all. But yeah, I
I'm
don't
sorry,
see them.
Taylor. I know you like them, but sorry.
Yeah, I don't see them being at the bottom of the table. So, oh, someone does not have access.
Oh, probably me.
Yeah. You can remove Earl. Here, I will stop sharing that here real quick. So, all right. That's odd because the settings are so that everyone with the link has edit access. Okay, it just sent you an email. All right, back to sharing our screen. All right, who else? Who else has got bottom two here?
I don't know how to edit it, so you're gonna have to do it for me.
Oh, it's all you just copy paste. So on the
Well,
right,
what's your-
we've got our
If you
I
just tell us,
tried
I can
that.
move it, or Seth can do it.
yeah.
Who's your team?
I think it's the Miami as well.
The
And
Miami.
you're right next to. Bam!
Thanks,
Okay.
Harry.
I got you.
For no
Multiple
particular
windows.
reason other than you can always count on them.
Yep. All
Bring
right.
up the rear.
Jacob has child aggro, I'm guessing. So we'll let him. I'm pretty sure Jacob said Miami at 13. Yeah, Jacob's got Miami at 13 already. Who is just a step above your bottom team?
I'm gonna go with Sporting Jacks.
Sporting Jacks. Okay.
They are a team that I considered being in 13
Mhm.
expansion team.
Yeah, expansion teams are tough. I mean, obviously, North Carolina coming back is not an expansion.
They weren't an
team.
expansion team.
Yeah, we're not expansion, but with them making the return after self-relegating to League One, right? But I mean, they brought with them a roster, so you could make the argument either way last year. Obviously, I think they outperformed what a lot of people thought they were going to do. Yeah, of the expansion clubs, I don't think either of them really have a chance here. But I have Jax down here as well. I don't think Jax has it this year. First year club. We'll see. We'll see what happens though. Christina.
boy. I think I'm going to go with Jackson as well. I don't know anything about them other than them being an expansion team. They haven't had any like flashy signings. This seems like a pretty safe bet.
What I like about what they've done though is they're not they're taking a step out and like, hey, instead of signing a bunch of like USL vets that will give us this like mediocre baseline, they're like, we're gonna sign some of them, but not a lot. And then we're gonna bring in a bunch of young guys and see if we can hit on somebody. And I think they're doing it with the future in mind. Like if they can come in and have like 4 or 5 of these guys hit, or 3 or 4 of them even hit, and like kind of find a core for next year and then kind of build around that. And then if they really hit and maybe like sell some of them overseas or something like that, then that would give them a little bit of financial freedom to maybe make some splashier signings going forward. All that being said, I have them as 12th as well. I just don't know. That's the problem, is I just don't know anything about most of their guys. I can name maybe like 3 of their players that I like recognize the names, and other than that, it's a bunch of unproven kind of no-name guys as far as my soccer knowledge is concerned. And so we'll have to see. And this is a team I think in the East for me they could finish wooden spoon. They could also make the playoffs in like the 7-8 range. Anyways, I'm not thinking they could go much higher than that, but they have like the widest range of outcomes for me when I was sitting here doing this experiment.
All right, Jacob, lead us off at 11.
I have Loudoun.
Loudoun.
I know that they made some strides, finally made the playoffs last year, granted like as a 6th seed, but I'm not a big Ryan Martin fan. If you talk to a lot of USL people, Morrissey, some of the like announcers that cover the league pretty regularly and stuff, they're big Ryan Martin fans. I'm not a huge Ryan Martin fan. That being said, I do think you lose some consistency that you had for your 5-7 years of existence. And we kind of know that this is one of the teams that the USL Players Association is talking about when they're talking about facilities and stuff like that. And so their roster is fine. It's nothing great. I don't think they can, even with a talented roster and a good coach, supposedly in Ryan Martin, they missed the playoffs every year except for last year. And so I think that's more of a blip than a new trend. And I think I have them. That's why I have them out of the playoffs.
Fair enough. Yeah, Ryan Martin obviously made a splash that Loudoun, I think, overperformed for a number of people last year. But they've certainly done some good things. I think breaking away from DC United is a good thing for them in the long run, because DC just did not care. DC did not care about them. And we saw that with how they treated that roster, particularly during match weeks. So
DC doesn't care about anything.
Right.
They don't care about DC.
Nope, that is very true. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Loudoun slips. I don't think they're at 11, though. I do think that Indy takes another step back.
Oh,
So
wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the predictable route and say another newbie, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay.
Brooklyn.
That's scary. All right.
I am going to go with Miami. Well, I do think that they'll be better, but I don't think that they will squeak into the top 8.
Fair enough. All right. Who wants to lead us off at 10? Now, and to the point here, at what point do you say, okay, these are potential playoff contenders and you struggled to put them in your top 8?
I'll go because I'll be quick. I got Birmingham at 10, and we've already covered them. And as far as that kind of line, I think any of the teams that we've listed could sneak into the playoffs at 8 for or in the East. I'm not. We'll talk about when I get to my 8 seed, but I think 8 through 13 is kind of a jumbled mess for me.
Mhm.
And I think any of them, I wouldn't be surprised if any of them sneak in, except for maybe Miami.
All right, Harry, you threw Brooklyn in here. Any particular reason? Is it they're just not quite
Expansion team.
competitive? Expansion. Okay.
They're young. Just the East is one of those. You got your elite teams.
Mhm.
You got your historic teams, and then it's everybody else.
Mhm.
And I don't think either one of these teams, Brooklyn or Jacksonville, will do a Rhode Island, where they'll come in and do well. I think Brooklyn will be the more competitive team than Jacksonville, but I just think with the USL Championship, just with the growth of it, that an expansion team is going to take a little bit of time to build that roster and mature, unless you're doing a Lexington, which neither one of these teams are doing.
Right.
Lexington missed the playoffs. They didn't even.
Well, but I mean, Lexington of this year of buying everybody and spending cash like a drunken sailor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head with Rhode Island. Rhode Island captured lightning in a bottle in season 1. They absolutely did, and they came in, they played well, they put out a heck of a team, and they overperformed a lot of expectations. So, but I'm with you. Brooklyn's young, new team, tough conference to play in, simply because you do have the blue bloods, so to speak, right? So the guys who are going to always be in the top, 4 to 6 range. So, Brooklyn, I like what you're doing. I like the youth of the club, but I don't think they make it this year.
I'm going I hemmed and hawed between Birmingham and Loudoun and settled on Loudoun.
Loudoun, all right. You got it. All right. 9, last one out.
It's Birmingham for me.
Birmingham for Christina. Okay. So we've got 3 with Birmingham already out of the playoffs. Like you said, that they have issues down in Birmingham. I don't know what they're doing. They have made some interesting roster decisions. I mean, you look at everything they lost, right? And that's after not performing last year. I think there's some slight improvement, but I have them out as well. Jacob, who just misses the cut for you?
I have Indy here. They're just meh. Like I like the Eric Dick signing. I like Herbert going over there. They still have Aiden Quinn, Jack Blake, but they had them last year and didn't move the needle for me. And I don't know. They're just kind of a strange team. And like I said, and actually, looking at my list, from 7 through 12, I just don't know.
Fair enough. Harry?
So I have kind of a gap. So I think 10, 11, 12, 13 are pretty solid as being in the bottom 4 for the East. My next 4, it's like drawing names out of a hat. So I'm going to go Loudoun.
Okay.
But I think Loudoun's going to be one of those sneaky teams. And I know Loudoun's making small improvements each year. Now, they've still got a ways to go, especially on the standards. But they brought in Alan Marcina. They brought in Martin. So they're bringing in quality as far as for the technical staff. And if they play Alan Marcina ball, that historically has been
one that will keep you in the playoff hunt for that here. So to me, I have Loudon just out by a point. And I'll go to the next one there for 8. I have Indy 11 just getting in as. Hold on, I went to the wrong one. Indy 11 as my 8th team, the bottom team making the playoffs out of the East.
Harry, so you said the next 4 teams, right? So Loudon, Indy. Who are those other 2? Just throw them out there for me.
I have Detroit and Hartford in that mix.
Okay. I'm right there with you, aside from Loudon. The team that I have in 8th is Detroit. They bring back Maxi Rodriguez after an unsuccessful stint with Rhode Island. They pay a transfer fee to bring him back. And other than that, none of their moves really moved the needle for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of always just like, they're Detroit. Like
but they always do well though.
I mean, they finished 8th last year as well, though. Like they didn't blow anybody away. I know they made an upset in the playoffs, but they didn't sneak into the playoffs. But they also weren't like they started off hot. They were up in the top 4 for the start of the year, and then they kind of fell back down and just didn't do anything else. And until they got to the playoffs, they had one match where they make some noise against Lou City, but they're consistently meh to me. And so I thought about having them at 7, but I flip-flopped them and who I did have at 7, which we'll talk about in a minute. And mainly that's just me going, Detroit, you're boring. This other team's not boring to me. I want them to finish higher, and I switched it. But
Northern Guard's going to come at you for that.
I don't care. I'm not scared. 7 through 12 to me, I maybe 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11, 12. There's kind of a little gap there, but it's not much of a gap if you ask me. And I could see anybody finishing anywhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, I was almost in the same bucket, but for me, it's 6 through 9. I don't think I go as far as 12, because I do think there's a clear difference, right? I don't think Indy is good enough. Just plain so, I just don't think they're good enough. And then, as far as the other 3, I just don't see it, right? I think there's too big of a gap between. I mean, honestly, I really probably could have put Indy at 10 and been fine with it,
right?
And then had the other 3 lower. But I do think that there's a gap between 9 and the rest. So I think Legion has done enough to set themselves apart to where they're fighting, and it may be late in the year, but I do think they miss. But
Andrew, I don't think that's a hot take at all. I could see them fighting for a playoff spot even. So
I mean, we have them above one teams.
Yeah, exactly.
For me at 8, when I look at these teams, this is tough. I Jacob, much like you, I'm not impressed with Detroit, but I don't have them at 8. I think Loudon gets that last spot there. Yeah. Christina?
I've got Indy at 8, just eking in.
Okay.
I want to see. I don't know. I have like a soft spot for. Why am I blanking his name all of a sudden?
For horrible soccer.
Herbert?
No, Herbert. Thank you. I kept wanting to say Howell. I'm like, not Malik. I think I have a soft spot for Malik too, though. But yeah, I want to see Tony, make it to a playoffs and have a good run. I was sad when he left New Mexico, so that's what put me over the edge.
You 3 all have the same last 6, just in different orders. And it sounds like Harry and Seth have Detroit coming up at 7. Is that correct, guys?
I I'm close, and again, these like I said, 6 through 9 for me could be anywhere. I do think Legion's a step behind them, but no, I have Hartford at 7.
Hartford, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I go back and forth. I think they could end in a draw, but I'll go Detroit as 7th. My one ownership share has to have them in the playoffs.
Christina?
Detroit also for 7.
So I have Hartford as like a clear top 6. To me, the East is like the top 6 and then the bottom 7.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the top 6 and then the next 6 and then Miami. But I have Brooklyn here. And I think they're young, but they're not without experience. And they're bringing in a ton of guys that have, like, Tommy McNamara is not young at all. He has a ton of experience. JC Obregon is coming up from League One, but has spent time in the USL Championship, and has lit League One on fire. Gabriel Alves is the same way. And then they bring in some guys like Vuk Latinovic, who me and Andrew Bolte were convinced was on trial here, but ended up not being. They got Jackson Lee in goal, Stefan Stojanovic as a forward in there. Like, they have names that are not necessarily like they have talent, and they have a good mix of talent and experience, and it seems to make sense on paper for me. And so I understand the expansion thing and stuff like that. They're newer and exciting, and that's why I have them above Detroit. But
Can I say you just spent a couple of minutes saying nothing?
you can't. I do that all the time, Harry.
I'm like, what is he trying to say? I'm like, well, nobody knows. It just.
I just feel more confident with what they've done,
Mm-hmm.
and I like the hype around what they've done. Not just putting their roster together, but just like as a team, than I am with what Detroit brings back this year, what Indy brings back this year. Same with Birmingham and Loudoun. And so I will make a bet with you off air, Harry, about Brooklyn. If you
I'll
want.
say this historically, there is one expansion team that does well if there's multiple expansion teams in there.
Yeah.
Historically, one surprises us, and I think out of the 2 teams, it would be Brooklyn. Compared to Jacksonville.
All right, get it. All right, so Jacob, you've said there's a clear distinction for you between the top 6 and the bottom 7. So who rounds out that top 6 for you?
I think Hartford is the worst of that group, but not by a lot. It's kind of bringing the band back together for the most part this year. They don't add a ton of names. Matt Real from Colorado Springs, and Augie Williams kind of headline that group. But I like what they brought back. And overall, I feel honestly, this might sound weird, but I feel like Rhode Island joining the league has really helped Hartford, because that rivalry is something that seems to ignite both of those fan bases pretty well, and I think it's pushed Hartford to try to be better.
All right, I've got Detroit at 6. I know that's a slight improvement over where they were last year, but honestly, in terms of points, I don't think there's a whole lot of difference in terms of points, because again, there's for me, there's a distinction between 6 through 9 and then 10 through 13. So, and this here is because I feel like other teams have done a lot more than what Detroit has. I don't necessarily think they're going to improve upon their record significantly, but I do think they're the best of this group of 4. Christina.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah. Hartford for me.
Okay. Alrighty, here we go. Top 5.
So we're all going to have the same top 5. It looks like.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Seth, who you have as like the end of that tier.
Yeah. So this for me is again, it's more about what other clubs have done, right? It's not so much that this is a bad team. I just think I think other teams have done more here. So for me, I actually have Rhode Island at 5.
I do as well.
Okay.
I do as well.
No, I decided to put Tampa there
Tampa. Okay.
for funsies.
Tampa is like borderline an expansion team this year. In the sense that
there's so many signings.
yes,
I feel like
their
they're kind of
roster is-
Lexington, potentially,
Mhm.
like throwing all the money at it. They'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll host.
Yeah, I mean, look at this roster here. They come into the season with Lawrence White, Lewis Hilton, Alex Mendez, and Indri Mustali. That's what they came in with. Then they go out and sign Marco Micheletto, Russell Cicerone.
Mendez isn't on the team anymore. They just transferred him to El Paso.
Oh, did they? Okay. Well, Mendez
So they
is
are
on
only
then.
bringing back 3 people
Yeah.
from last year. So it is very much like a complete hard reset.
Mhm.
And when I look at the names like you were just mentioning, I didn't mean to cut you off. Like the talent is there.
Mhm.
Will they mesh? I feel like they've meshed pretty good in preseason, which is why I have them higher than Christina. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can come together and mesh for a whole season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this roster. I mean, Jamali Waite's clearly the one here. MD Myers, Dos Santos, like this roster, top to bottom. Tampa is like, yeah, no, we're done with last year. We're done with that nonsense. We are moving forward. We are going to put out a competitive team. And the thing, this is who left, right? You've got Manuel Arteaga. You've got Forrest Lasso. These guys would easily fit on any other team in the league and instantly make it better for the most part, except for Bill Hamid. Dude's like 97 years old. But yeah, I mean, Tampa's not messing around. They made significant upgrades across the pitch this offseason. And so I actually have Tampa at 4. And I fear I may be low on them.
I have them at 3. And then I have Pittsburgh at 4. No disrespect to the defending champs. But I just don't see them climbing any higher after losing probably the best goalkeeper in the league as like a consistent basis the last several years in Eric Dick. And then, they bring back Albert Dequa after he was with Rhode Island, but they let Augie Williams go. And so I don't know. It's just kind of I could see them falling to 6. I could also see them finishing 3rd. I don't think I'd put them higher than 3rd. But that's just they're good. They're solid. They're a great, like, consistent team. They just don't have the flash that the top 3 teams for me have.
Yeah, and I don't know if you mentioned Augie Williams gone here as well.
Yeah.
But as good as much as I'd like this roster, I feel like it's incomplete.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, I feel like there's still like 1 or 2 more pieces that they may look at adding, but
I've got Pittsburgh at 4 also.
Okay.
Winning the championship, it's unlikely that they're going to have a back-to-back run. So, but they'll get to host.
Yeah, no, definitely. Home playoff match for Pittsburgh. Yeah, I've got them at 3. And honestly, it's like I said, they're just consistent, right? They've never run away with it. They've been consistently in the top half of the table year in and year out. It's no longer Lily Ball; it's augmented to Lily Ball. But they did turn a page last year, I think. With a new coach, with new philosophy. But yeah, I mean, it's just a solid roster, and you can't fault them. So, all right, Christina and Harry, number 3.
I'm sticking with black and yellow. So Rhode
Charleston.
Island,
Oh, okay. That's Navy.
yellowish, little black, navy bluish.
I went with Charleston as my 3rd team. I just think that they've lost talent this year. They've lost leadership, and obviously, I think if you look at mine, I still haven't put Tampa on there yet, and then of course Lou City is still on the board. So I think Charleston takes I don't even know if it's a step back. I think they may still have a decent, close to the same points as last year. I just think that the bottom of the East is going to make the top that much, inflated with their numbers. So,
yeah.
But I've got a top 3, clear top 3, because I do think Pittsburgh and Rhode Island good. Just but Pittsburgh won on a playoff run with Dick being outstanding. Rhode Island had back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals, didn't make it last year. I just think Charleston's the team that takes a small step back this year.
But Andy Cabrera is not the answer for Battery.
Was the answer for them in El Paso?
We've established El Paso needs more than one player.
Well, hey, now they have Amando Moreno and potentially Danny Rojas.
Danny Rojas. I have Charleston at 2. I agree with Harry. I do think there's a clear top 3 in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I know Charleston lost a lot. I mean, you look at Cal Jennings, MD Myers, Leland Archer, Nathan Dos Santos, Arturo Rodriguez, Rubio Urbine. I mean, they basically lost an all-star team. I mean, Juan David Torres is probably the biggest loss, actually, that they had. But I like what they've done to supplant that. Sean Suber coming from Pittsburgh to kind of replace Leland Archer as their main center back. Miguel Berry and Wilmer Cabrera Jr. Are both quality forwards. Malik Foster, Casadu are both really good attacking mids. And so they did lose some, but I think you
didn't even mention the biggest loss.
Who's the biggest loss?
Aaron Malloy.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Okay.
You got me there.
He controls that midfield.
They had such an abundance of midfielders that he is. I mean, don't get me wrong. He is a massive name that they are losing, but they're still going to have the Ikaza, Landry, Allen. Then they bring in Casadu, and so it is a talent-wise, they are probably a step back, but I think structurally, with Ben Pierman there still, and the talent that they do have, it's not like they are talentless now. They still have a ton of talent. Mm-hmm. They just had an insane amount of talent last year, and I think this year they might be a little more cohesive because they're not trying to juggle minutes for 5 forwards that are worthy and 16 midfielders that are worthy. and I think there might be a clearer hierarchy there in the starting lineup that makes it a little easier to gel and get some. Instead of just relying on the talent, they could actually bring their talent and their like cohesion together and possibly be even better, in a better position to succeed anyways in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, you may be right, but for the regular season, I have them, Team Pedro in third, and then I think the Rowdies step back to being the Rowdies this year, so I have them second. I know I'm the highest out of everybody on the Rowdies, but I do think that they come back to form. And I know you have them on third, so not a huge difference.
And I have a top three. That's the I really think it's Lou City and then Charleston, Tampa Bay. So I don't even think it's a top three necessarily. I think it's a top one and then the next two. I'm just banking on Charleston being Charleston, whereas Tampa Bay, with the year that they had and all the fresh names, I just have some questions there. But I think Charleston has a better core group from last year and a system that is already in place, where Tampa Bay is still kind of tinkering.
And I filled in Lou City for those. Christina still has to make hers, but so far, if everybody's gotten everybody else, so Lou City's the only option left. Christina, who is your second, or who is your champion, if you want to?
So, just for funsies, because I'm bored of Lou City always being in first, I'm gonna put them in second.
Okay.
And
I would
go
rather
black
them
and yellow
finish
for
first and fail in the playoffs like they
Yeah.
have, than finish in second and be pissed off. So you got Charleston first?
Yeah, just for funsies.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Lou City did lose. You lose Goodrum, you lose Ownby, Lancaster, McCabe. You've got a number of guys here that are obviously going to be missed.
But
But,
they
I
had to
mean-
get younger, though.
They did. They
And
absolutely did.
I love Akale, but sometimes he just holds on to that ball too long.
Yeah. And we discussed a couple weeks ago, how much time does he actually get in this side, right? Obviously, they wanted him. They came after him mid-season last year, signed his contract middle of the season, and then went and had a pretty good, second half of the year. But yeah, I mean, it's a heck of a roster to your return. They're going to be solid. Lynn Family Stadium is one of the better facilities, if not the best facility in all of USL Championship. They know how to build a winning club year in and year out. And until someone proves otherwise, I think they are the team to beat.
I agree. They the fact that we're questioning if Akale goes and gets minutes even after they came and acquired
Scoops
him
him up.
essentially mid-season, it just speaks to their depth.
Mm-hmm.
And everything, and so they're Lou City. The regular season is Lou City's to lose just about all the time, and so until somebody displaces them, I know they didn't win. In fact, I think they finished fifth the year before last, if I'm not mistaken, and so it's not inconceivable, but I don't know. I think that at the moment they are the cream of the crop, as much as I hate to say it.
Alrighty, over to the best conference in the USL Championship, the West. Obviously, this is where we have our bread and butter. This is the side that we focus on more frequently. All right, season of change. We're staring down the best conference season we've ever had. Who finishes bottom, and do they compete? And again, who are they? Is it just Wooden Cup or Wooden Spoon in the West, or Wooden Spoon in the East?
I put Monterey Bay. Are they
Same.
going to be worse than Birmingham? I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say yeah. I want to say yes, but no. I'm gonna say Monterey Union does finish with the wooden spoon.
Alrighty. Yeah, it's why did I do that?
Jacob, you said you had them as well.
I do, yeah. It's between them and Vegas. I like some of what Vegas has done, and I'm just kind of meh on everything that Union has done. And so, so yeah, they're solidly 12, but I think the wooden spoon comes. I think they do win the wooden spoon. I mean, I'm sorry. And I think because 10 through 1 in the West, I think is leaps and bounds better than 10 through 1 in the East. And so while the East can the bottom of the East can kind of get points off each other, I don't think that's the case in the West. And so I think they finished dead last in the league. But I don't think it's like a record-setting year like we've seen in the past. Like, it's like a respectable wooden spoon, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at what Monterey Bay is on. I'm nothing on this roster moves the needle for me at all. I think it's another step back. I hate to say it, but I think they are a team or an organization that may not be the longest tenured club in the USL Championship.
You say that, but they got a stadium coming.
I mean, so do we.
Supposedly.
Although
Damn, Andrew.
we've been
Andrew.
signed a new lease at Ice Stokes Park. So
Andrew's not kidding. Morrissey's predictive model does hate us.
Morrissey
haven't looked at it.
Morrissey hates us.
No, he doesn't. Like, I've been listening to a lot of their stuff, and he's actually like personally
He's nicer
decently
than
high
I've
on us.
been. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
his-
saw the USL show prediction on their preview of us. I'm like, ugh. But no, his predictive models are just, they always hate us. They always have.
It's because we don't ever have like big flashy players.
Yeah. I mean, his predictive model has us out of the playoffs, for Christ's sake. But they all have us finishing in the top 4. So it's not Morrissey himself. It's just the math, the Earl math that hates us.
And see that, and this is again, I struggle with his model because we've been to the playoffs in 6 out of 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Wow,
Knock on some
I
wood.
didn't mean to
Hey,
derail
are we
us.
putting New Mexico at 11th or?
No.
Hey, Christina, who was your 12th team
It's a
before we
clean
put
sweep
New
here.
Mexico at 11? Okay.
Monterey Bay.
Yeah. I'm with Josh here. Knock off Blue Ocean United.
Do we all
Um,
have Vegas next or no?
I do not.
I
No,
do.
Christina
Yes.
does not.
I do not.
Yeah,
I'm a
I
hater. So just based on that phrase alone, I bet you can guess who I'm
El
going to put
Paso.
in my 11th.
The Fighting Danny Rojas's.
Yep. Yep.
Do you have a Vegas
yeah, I've got
11
Vegas.
stuff?
Yeah, Vegas again. They haven't done anything. Now, I know it's weird to say because they just got the influx of money 2 seasons ago. They did really well, and then 2 years ago lost their coach, lost a number of players. But I don't have faith in that club or in that management. I mean, yeah, you pick up Arteaga, but that's the only thing that really stands out. And they did not put it together at all in 2025.
Yeah, I want to like Vegas, but I don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a struggle all last year. All right, 10.
Christina,
I've
is
got
this where you
Vegas
have
at
Vegas?
10
Okay.
for me. Yeah, that's where I have Vegas.
I have El Paso at 10. But this is also where like 10 through 1, maybe 10 through 2 I think Tulsa at the moment has earned my respect enough to be a clear number one going into the season. Spoiler alert. But so like 10 through 2 to me is wide open. But because it's El Paso and it's me, I do have El Paso at 10.
Yeah, I'm with Harry, and I'd love to hear Harry's reasoning, but I just, Oakland just, again, they don't move the needle. Like, I'm not impressed with that. And obviously, I think that I will say I do think they got a boost last year because of because playing at the Coliseum and all of that and all of the
For one game?
for one game. And I think the celebrity aspect of it, right? They had a bunch of celebrities and stuff show up. I think that pushed some of the interest, and you saw it wane as the season went on. So
that to me is kind of crazy because they I thought I was going to come in low on them, but I'm way higher than you guys because if you follow like other USL media, there's a ton of people that are super high on Oakland. With Ryan Martin coming over as their new coach.
Because they're buying into the Floyd Madison kit promo stuff that Oakland
No,
does.
it's not.
Oakland
it's not,
does a lot of good, but
it's not about that though. From like what I'm hearing and even what I see on their roster, and with Ryan Martin, who I'm not a big fan of, as I just mentioned, I think he's an upgrade over what they had last year, and so they fight for a playoff spot last year, and I think they got better. And so,
who is anchoring this team? Who's carrying them? Like,
I mean, they had the Golden Boot winner last year in Peter Wilson, plus they have Danny Trejo. They bring in Florian Valors, who is a good string puller in the midfield. They kind of redo their center backs. Their center backs I'm not familiar with, other than Neville Hackshaw, who I'm not a fan of.
And he won't start because Garcia from League One,
right? And so
will come in ahead of him.
And then they bring in Tommy McCabe, who can kind of be a pivot there in the midfield, and so you look at the names that they lose, you recognize them, but I don't think they are downgrades. I don't think they're downgrading any of them. I think they're upgrading most of them, and they're keeping guys that were at least part of the reason why they were able to make the playoffs last year. And they're bringing in a coach. I thought they snuck in.
They finished,
or maybe
in
they
10th.
were 10th. That's right. So you have them at 10th. I think they got significantly better. They weren't that far out of a playoff mix. They were in the playoffs for most of the season. That's right. They did fall out towards the end. But I think they realized that, and they've made adjustments to try to change that. Jockinson, who's they just announced, I believe today or yesterday, as a forward that's coming over from Pittsburgh, didn't get a lot of run with Pittsburgh, but I think is a good guy to have in case Peter Wilson falls back to earth. And so I'm not saying they're going to win the West, but there's a lot of people that think they're going to get a home playoff match. I don't have them that high, but I think to have them 10th is wildly surprising to me. I'm not going to say it's disrespectful because I've said it already, 10 through 2 can finish anywhere, but I'm just kind of interested that you guys aren't believing any of the hype that they are getting right now.
No,
or you're not seeing the hype one or the other.
Even with the returning Gold Boot winner, you finish 10th in the West. You win 2 of your final 13 matches of the season, right? It's a ton of dropped points. The team they were lukewarm in the season, and then just drastically fell off. Like defensively, they couldn't stop anybody.
Right, but it's not the same team. That's like there were issues last year, and I feel like they have gone out to try to address those issues instead of standing pat, which is what I think a lot of the teams in the East basically did, was just be like, hey, we're right there in the thick of it. We're just going to stand pat. I feel like Oakland was like, hey, let's make some changes, starting with Ryan Martin. And Andrew, we will find out how good Ryan Martin is, because I thought, like, people are people have glazed Ryan Martin for quite a while for what he did at Loudoun, which was make the playoffs 1 year out of 7. And I get that, it's Loudoun, and that's why. But this is the excuses are going to be gone for Ryan Martin. And if he is who I think he is, they might finish 10th because I don't think he's that impressive as a coach. But the middle of this West is also chaotic as all get out. And so he might fail and still finish 6th or 7th. I don't know. We'll just have to see.
You guys
Exactly.
might be surprised.
Oh, let me guess. Is it San Antonio? No, just kidding.
No, I believe in San Antonio. I've got Orange County in 10th.
Ooh.
I think they're just, I mean, I could be wrong, but they strike me as they're potentially a very young team.
I have them at 9th,
Right.
and I flip-flopped them in El Paso multiple times when I was doing this. So not at all surprising to me. And Harry has them 9th too. So I think we all kind of agree with that one. Well, the three of us do. And Seth probably has them winning the West for some reason. But
Yeah, I mean, their starting keeper is going to be that young kid that did a phenomenal in the penalty shootout, who was really fun to watch. But
yeah,
it just seems like a very young player to have as your number one. I don't know. They just struck me as a young team, like up and coming, maybe. But I just don't see them eking out playoff run.
He's 25, so he's not like super young.
Is he? I thought he was younger than that.
No, he's 25. Yeah,
Now they have a
he looks
16-year-old.
young.
Who's the 16-year-old? That's a midfielder.
Maybe.
They've got some youngins.
they do have youngins. They always have some youngins. And I think they're probably the best team in the USL at actually playing the young guys and moving them on to something else. If I'm a kid in college or a kid like 16, 17 that wants to try to go overseas when I turn 18 and can go overseas, I'm looking at Orange County. And they have some guys that I think could do that potentially.
My 9 is simply because, again, I'm a hater. And I just love for this team to just barely not make the playoffs. They're going to just dive right into the off season. Yep.
I have them at 8. So I have them making the
Well,
playoffs,
hold on,
but
Seth.
barely.
Who's your 9?
Who's my 9? Oh, they're not going to make it.
I'll pass it.
They're not going to make it. No. Again, their roster right now, I don't know what they're doing. It's up in the air. They really don't have any sort of supporting cast. You lose Andy Cabrera. You know, yes, you bring in Rubio Rubin. Jacob, you and I, again, we talked about where you and I are both big on Carl Sainty, but other than that, I mean, Abram Merrill is probably the next big signing. The other guys are like, okay, yeah, they're fine, you know. But I mean, you lose a lot of piece guys that really stepped up for them last year. So I don't know. Like I don't have faith in Mora. Ricky Ruiz can, you know, go stare at a wall for 24 hours during our match for all I care. Like, you know, yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
All right, now, Jacob, you can talk about your Phoenix Rising and how great of a pick you think it is.
Oh, I don't think it's a great pick at all. I have zero confidence in my Western Conference picks, other than like Monterey Bay and Vegas. I feel pretty good about being towards the bottom, and then when we get to the top, I feel pretty good about a couple people up at the top. But other than that, I have no freaking idea. Phoenix is a team that, when you look at what we think of Phoenix during like the Solomon Asante, Rick Shantz days of like being a powerhouse, they haven't been that for a long time. Yes, they won the cup a couple years ago, but that was like a 6 seed making a run in the playoffs, and a team that really had no business winning the cup, in my opinion. And so they're kind of just a meh team, and they kind of did meh things this offseason, but they just kind of find ways to stick around and try to make the playoffs and end up making a little bit of noise. And if you remember right, not last year, but the year before, they kind of had us shook in the playoffs as the 8th seed. And it took a 2-goal comeback or a 1-goal comeback from us to move on in that match. And so they're just kind of pesky in that way. And so I think they make the playoffs. I think they could be potential upset in the first round, or they could be fighting for a potential upset in the first round. And I kind of like what they did this offseason. I'm not a fan of what like Lexington did and what Tampa Bay did, where they're just going after the big names in the USL for a couple reasons. One, it's boring. And two, I think Phoenix is trying to find some diamonds in the rough, much like United does, that will grow this league instead of just shuffling around the same players. And I can respect that, even though they are our rival.
So Seth went with Rising.
Yeah, they've been so inconsistent since that run a few years ago. They finished on 40 last year. They were fine. Nothing to really write home about. They finished outside of double-digit wins. And so there's room for improvement. I do think they're better than El Paso. And I think honestly, there's a distinction here between 8-9, maybe even 7-8-9, and then the rest. Either way. So
I put the Switchbacks. To me, like I said here, my tiers, I think the bottom 2 and then 10 through 7, you could argue, and not be wrong on the order. But I think with the Switchbacks, who's scoring goals? Just Corey Bennett.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna rely heavily on Corey Bennett, and then obviously, you've got Juan Tejada in there, and I think you're gonna probably get 4 or 5 from Jonas Fjellberg. I think you're gonna get a few out of him, and obviously they have a proven penalty PK taker in Talon Maples. So if they draw any penalties whatsoever, there's your guy. So that's a good double-digit goal scorer right there.
I think Perez and Hanya are both going to be factoring in as well in the attack. They might not score double-digit goals, but I think you get 5 or 6 from each of them, plus Corey Bennett, Kyle Vassell, Juan Tejada. I think you can get 10, 15 total from those 3. I think they're there. It's just different than what you might expect, and so I'm not terribly higher on them, but I am a little higher.
Yeah. Christina,
my number 8 is a wild card, Vegas. I know you guys aren't very high on them, but they just are kind of unpredictable. You just never know what you're going to get with that team.
I mean, you're not wrong. They have added, like you mentioned, Ortega. Kyle Scott, I think, is a good center mid there for him. Mark Ibarra comes over from Rhode Island to kind of nail down the midfield. They do still have Johnny Rodriguez and Knight Pickering and Sean Smart from last year's team, who are all talented, even though they didn't live up to any hype last year. Maybe with kind of a revamped team around them, they can be dangerous. So I don't hate the shout. That's for sure.
So I'll get this team out of the way just because I'm the last person to pick them. El Paso, have as 7th, partially just because they're in Texas, which makes them better than New Mexico. Oh wait, did I say that? No, I just El Paso is one of those teams that when you think they're going to do well, they tend to underperform, but when you think they're going to be really bad, they tend to overperform a little bit. And to me, like I said here, between 10 and 7, like, I could see the Roots being 7 and Locomotive being 10, but I think, give a little bit of love to the Copa Tejas team, El Paso, and I know that's the only love that they'll ever get on this show.
You're damn right.
And it's my last appearance.
Josh gave me a hard time because when they announced the white kit that they have this year, not this boring black one, but the blue one, but the white one. At the time, I was like, "Man, this is the best kit that's been released." And Josh was like, "You can't say that. It's El Paso," and he's not wrong. But yeah, I don't know. El Paso it's a weird team. We'll have to see.
Yep. I mean, at 7, I've got Orange County. Orange County's got Orange County, right? They're going to be streaky. They're going to be up and down. But they're going to have a playoff season. They do it every year. I know people get real high on them and think that they're going to be, mid-top table. I think they're just a mid-table team. But they're consistently, mid-table ever since their championship run a few years ago. So,
I like how you're like talking shit about them, but you're the highest of them.
I'm not talking shit. They're consistently there.
Yeah.
Right.
I hate Orange County. I hate Orange County.
They don't. Yeah, they have their ups and downs. They don't have two. They don't get high highs. They don't get low lows. They're like, oh yeah, here's a couple wins. Here's a couple losses. Oh, there's a draw. They
won a fluke title, and everybody thinks they're great.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not great. They're fine. Like I said, they're mid-table, right? This is where they've been for the past few years. This is where they're gonna be. So
I could see. I mean, I have them at 9. I could see them finishing 7 pretty easily, but I'm curious who Christina has here.
For my number 7,
Yes.
I have Oakland. I think, I agree with what Jacob was saying. I think the hive minds seem to think that they've got more going for them this year. I just feel like, as much as I love their media team and the uniqueness of what their club puts out in terms of product and their community involvement, just on the pitch, I feel like they're very unpredictable. When they're hot, and when they're not, they're not.
Yep. Jacob, who you got at 7?
So 5, 6, and 7 to me are I don't really know what to do. 8 through 12, I feel as confident as you can doing this exercise on. But 5, 6, 7, I have no idea. So I'm sorry, Harry, but I have San Antonio here at 7.
There's a reason why I'm team Christina for 2026. So.
I believe you.
Oh yeah, that's not what my eyes are seeing there, mister.
No, it does. He did change it. It does say that now.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, it is. Look at that. Clearly, I need some glasses.
Like I really like what San Antonio has done. The Mikey Maldonado signing is probably the one that sticks out the most for me. I just like what he brings there. There's a few other names in there that I think move the needle some. I think hopefully you'll have some better injury luck in 2026. I just the 5, 6, 7 for me are Oakland, Colorado Springs, and San Antonio. And it's basically just throwing darts for those 3 teams. And unfortunately, after about 30 seconds of deliberating, I had San Antonio finishing last among those 3. And I apologize, Harry. I still love you.
Oh, no. Since you're going with shock, I'm going to go with shock as well. My number 6, Sacramento.
Nice.
I don't believe in Sacramento.
I love it.
They think, well, the USL media thinks that they are a team that's always has success. They haven't really won anything. They're not Loose City where they dominate a regular season, but yet the perception is that they are. They lost a lot of talent, just like Charleston did. They've brought in some big names. Neil Collins isn't in Tampa anymore. They're just, to me, I think they're a solid playoff team. Like I say, the top six are I think there's a clear difference in the top six than the bottom six. But I got Sacramento 6 just because they underperform.
Yeah, I felt like they batted way above their average last year. They picked up some wins they probably shouldn't have, and so
Like against us.
Yeah, that's one in particular. But no, they definitely squeezed out some wins that realistically they should have been results the other way. Yeah. So, but no, and like you said, Harry, USL media is very high on them. I think essentially everyone else is really high on them. But it's, like I said, they haven't won anything. They're consistently in the playoffs, but yeah, it's just I think others are too high, and I think the performance on the pitch will spell that out.
What say you, Christina?
I've got the Switchbacks in number 6. I think they got a huge get with getting Maples, and adding him to their defensive line is only strengthening. And defenses win championships, but their little brother, so I can't put them too high on the list.
I have Oakland here, and I've already kind of talked about why I feel like they are better than last year, so I'm not going to say much other than I think this section of the West is going to be super tricky, and I can't wait to get to my Sacramento number because I will argue with you guys pretty strongly there.
Okay.
Which hurts me, by the way. It does hurt me, but
So you got them 1.
I do not have them 1. No.
All right. Switchbacks at 5. I think
for me.
I think the program has improved tremendously as a whole. I think they shored up some of their problems from last year, particularly defensively. I don't think they're necessarily going to be as pacey. Now, yes, they still have Corey Bennett, but I think they're still going to miss a little bit of the speed that they had to complement him. But I think they've made improvements.
Yeah, I like what they're doing. And this is like half kind of just the offensive moves that they made, and then half like total respect for Talon Maples and the type of player and quality of player that he is. And so I think he makes a big difference for them. And then they're going to go through a kind of a style change as well that I think suits them. Rising all the way at 5.
Yep, I got Rising just outside of the home field.
I don't hate it. Well, but why?
Partially because I hate Sacramento, and
Okay.
for here. So
Strictly out of spite. I got you.
out of spite, but to me, Phoenix Rising, they're a team that's kind of settled into that mid pack, where they'll be 3, 4, 5, or 6 as an organization where they'll invest. They'll bring in some young talent. They're a team that will, or at least they used to be. If you follow Rising social media, maybe not quite to the extent that they used to, but if they have a need mid-season, they will bring in and address that. But to me, like I said, I think Rising's one of those teams where on paper they're not the most sexiest team,
Right.
but I think they are a team that will put out consistent results. Now, whether those consistent results will be enough to, get wins instead of draws, I think that'll be the difference. But and to me, 4, 5, 6, you could kind of flip a coin, or even 3, 4, 5. Well, I've got a little surprise on 3, but along those lines. But to me, I think Rising.
Owen has not been terribly happy in his reporting so far. So I do think there are obviously still plenty of concerns, especially from Phoenix Media, as far as what they're doing. So, but no, you're right. The ownership group has shown they will spend money to address problems. Now, whether or not that fixes the problems is another thing entirely.
Yeah, 'cause they have a cultural issue right now, I think.
That they do. Yeah, that's been going on since the end of 24.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Yeah, they've been having issues there as well. So I think the supporter base is falling out, continue even more so, and they need to do something to get that supporter base back. Bolte, quickly, Morrissey's model has always loved Sacramento.
Let's not forget that Morrissey used to work for Sacramento as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was designed off the back of Sacramento.
And I'm nothing against John, just full disclosure.
Yeah, it's always been high on Sacramento, always been high on Phoenix.
With that said, Sacramento is who I have at 5th. I simply cannot put them ahead of San Antonio or New Mexico. And I really don't want them to have a home field because I hate their home turf.
it got
and
real bad in the last year, yeah. Yep.
So fifth they go.
Yeah, that pitch looked rough at the end of the year.
So 4, I have San Antonio.
Okay.
If they could bring in a decent goalkeeper, I could see them going higher. But when Richard Sanchez is your number 1, you can't put them up. And I think they'll score more goals. One of the things that scared me when we were playing the Dynamo, 2 is speed on the outside. I can see San Antonio giving up
a lot of speed.
Giving up goals on the outside, because if they're playing a back 3 with Tanner, Corneli, and there's
Swahi.
No, Swahi's on the bench. They got a loanee from New England, the Revolution, who's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's the wing backs. If they're up high, they get caught. And to me, I think that's where San Antonio could be got, is if you got speed on the outside wings to be able to go through. But goalkeeping, like I said, I just don't trust Richard Sanchez. It's the weakest position of San Antonio. To me, we have Joey Petruni, who graduated from University of Virginia last year. I'd rather play the young kid, let him develop, even if he's going to give up some goals. But it seems like that Sanchez has pictures of somebody, so he still has a job in San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything that Harry said. I think I do think this is a big step back towards where San Antonio wants to be. I do think that you've got
a step up from what they were last year.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And you guys have some really great pieces. You got some guys who can come in, fill some minutes, and feel really good. Obviously Tainter, a very talented veteran center back. We know Swahi and Nicky Hernandez, both guys that have the talent to compete and push for those spots. And Nicky obviously can provide game-changing moments. And alongside guys like Patino and Pirano, like you have guys going forward.
I will say San Antonio is deep. And that's why I wish I could put them higher, but when you're weak at goalkeeper, I just can't do it. But this team is much deeper than it was last year. For like here when we're talking about, especially against teams like El Paso.
Christina?
I have San Antonio. And sorry, Harry, you guys are gonna have to face Sacramento, but it'll at least still be on home turf, and you'll get to
Mhm.
send the USL Darling point 2.0 home.
Jacob?
Real quick before we leave San Antonio, Harry, is Tainter as good as he was last year or 2 years ago?
No. He's older.
That is
He's
why
he's lost a step. Yeah.
that's partly why I have them where I have them.
He's still good, but
He is, but he's not league winning.
he's not
like-
challenging league MVP like he
Right.
was, a couple of years ago now.
All right, this is going to be the shocker of the podcast. I have New Mexico 4th, and I say that sadly. I am officially concerned about the back of this starting 11. We have
You say that every year, dude. Every year.
no, I didn't say it last year. Last year, I thought Maples
had
and Ryden were
concerns?
no. I had some concerns last year, but that was more, and I had them first last year, mind you. So
Well, no. I'm not talking about rankings. I'm talking about backline defense.
I didn't have concerns last year, though.
You
Uh,
did.
I didn't, because Ryden and Maples I thought were solid and were legitimately solid. If Keller comes back healthy, and we know what he's capable of, and Malik, who was a late scratch against El Paso, and possibly part of the reason why they put up 4 on us in the preseason. I'm not putting stock into the results of the preseason. I'm just looking at our roster going, hey, we don't have anybody back there. Even our left and right back, it is Gloucester and it is Seymour. Even if we're fully healthy, we have 4 defensive players back there. And then Jafal and Zalalem are both hurt right now, which continues to shake up that core defensive center there. And so I'm not sure how. I have faith that the club is going to remedy some of that. I know it was teased that some backline help will be coming. And I don't know if you guys are going to the Black and Yellow Bash, but in the email that I got for my tickets, it did say a surprise reveal. And I don't know if that's Astorga or if that's a different one or who that could be, but we're still short 2 or 3. It's at least 3 players, I think, on that back line that we need to bring in. And I'm not talking depth pieces. I want another center back to compete with Keller and Howell for a starting spot. And so I don't think that's I think that's probably going to happen. Just at the time of doing this exercise right now, I look at what's going on and I'm I think we're definitely a top 4 team. It's just I have more questions this year than I have in the past. For I think our attack is super strong. We've already talked about that and all the names up there. But if we can't stop people, it's not going to do us any good. And so I just the most optimistic person on the pod, 99% of the time, has us at 4th, which I'm sure is not what Josh thought would happen.
So yeah, apparently you are alienating Josh. He's
I
going
am.
to stop listening. He's unfollowed and unsubscribed on every platform now.
That's okay. I'll win him
So-
back. I'll win him back.
Josh says he's not a United fan. Apparently, this isn't a United podcast. Fake fan, unsubscribe.
I mean, what do you expect when he puts Sacramento ahead of Mexico?
Yeah, exactly.
Yuck.
As much as I would like, so obviously we got the story of Christian Nava resigning, right? Back from the two ACL tears, makes his return, gets the new contract. I don't think you see Astorga. I don't.
I think you do because we don't have anybody
I do
else.
too. Yeah,
I-
I do too.
I like him, but I don't think that's the right move. I don't. I do think you can go out and potentially get someone on loan or a free agent that is not, made an MLS side.
I would
bring them
rather
in.
do that at center back. I'd rather spend that money at center back and bring in Astorga as a right back and do Astorga Seymour as right backs and put that money towards a position like center back.
Well, I don't want Will on the edge.
Oh no, I love Will at the right back. Will was surprisingly effective at right back last year.
Anybody but Usman. Like, he needs to be in midfield. So, like, we need Astorga back there.
I would like to see Usman at right back in a regular season game to see what it looks like.
No.
Wait, I think if you did that with Howell and was our like top pairing of center backs, I think it could potentially be kind of awesome. And I say that because when we had Will back there at times, Will would cut in from his right back position and basically be an extra midfielder. And so if I put myself in that position and I see Jabang doing that and being able to have a Bailey, a Zelalem, and a Jabang as de facto midfielders when we're in when we're in possession, that excites me a little bit. And so I wouldn't mind at least seeing that once, unless Astorga and Seymour and everybody else is healthy. Right now, it's looking like Seymour's probably going to have to be center back for us, so we're probably going to see Jabang as a starting right back at some point early in the season, and we'll have to see. But so yeah, I don't know. I still love the talent that we have when we're fully healthy. We just need some depth in that back line, and our injury situation is what scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to answer Bolte, Sanchez was talking like we may see Us at right back. I mean, on social media, they have Us as a defender. Like, I feel like that's, in Sanchez's mind, that's already a done deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess probably one of the real questions here, like, yes, there are injury concerns right now. Kip should be back, right? We were told, 5 to 6 weeks, and it's right at that point. So Kip should be back any day if he's not already in training.
But we don't, is he going to be match fit come March 14th is my question. I
wouldn't be surprised if he is. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he's not. Yeah. And so
I imagine he's probably been in training for at least a week or two, right? So we just haven't seen him in match situations. So we have 2 more preseasons, right? That we out at Mesa del Sol, I think it is. So I imagine he'll get minutes there, and then obviously with the anticipation that there may be, and we don't even play for a whole other week, so like I think he'll be fine. I think Kip will be fine once we get to league play. I'm more concerned. Well, I don't say more concerned, but my other concern is who is our number 1.
Oh, it's Shakes.
Yeah, it's Shakes. Yeah,
I'm convinced it's Shakes. At this point. And honestly, I feel confident in whoever wins that. I feel confident in. I think if it's Shakes that they give the reins to, or if it's a Rosarena, they've earned it. And I feel fine there. Keller, I'm not necessarily talking about Keller just with this injury. Because he was nursing a hamstring injury a lot last year. Even the matches that he was playing, I would see him limp off. He missed a couple matches for us with the hamstring injury. He missed matches with Minnesota before he came to us with hamstring injuries. And so that's kind of been a bugaboo of his whole career. And then with Malik going as a late scratch, we don't know anything of what's going on there. And so that worries me. And like we're a Gloucester injury away from starting 2 academy kids on the back line as it stands right now. And
I wouldn't mind seeing Hoffman get minutes. I wanted Hoffman to get minutes last year.
I want him to get minutes. I don't want us to be relying on him to play 90 minutes. That's where I differ.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's, my questions.
Oh, Seth's
I've got us at 3. Wow. I just have questions, right? It's, the health of our back line right now who is our number one? Both Shakes and Rosarena had some issues last year at times. Do I think they're both serviceable goalkeepers? Yes. It's who's the one, and can we be consistent enough in front of them? Because that was part of the problem. We were inconsistent defensively at times last year, particularly when Kalen was out. Now Kip came in. Kip solidified a whole bunch of things for us. Kip was phenomenal. Can he stay healthy? I think Kip is a phenomenal pickup for us. The fact that nobody signed him, I'm kind of surprised, but I have questions. I want to see how these new forwards work out. I think we have a ton of attacking options. It's can we finally get over that hump?
I will say the one guy for us that I am like probably too high on is Niall Reed-Steven. I think he has potential to come up from League One and completely wreck the USL as well. And so if that attack can click right away, then my concerns about the back line won't be as dramatic. And I think if it does, it's going to be because of Niall.
Harry, Christina.
Well, who's Jacob's third team?
Yeah, what's your third team, Jake? Probably Sacramento.
It is Sacramento, yes. And I get it. Like the hype around Sacramento all the time is super annoying. But what Sacramento did, so going into last year with the Neil Collins hire, Sacramento had a team that did not fit what Neil Collins wants to do. They had a very old team and a very just kind of, it's a team that obviously I didn't like going into last year, and they completely revamped that and brought in talent that I think actually fits what Neil Collins wants to do more. And I was thinking all of this before the Mark Anthony Kaye and Memo Rodriguez signings. Mark Anthony Kaye I have a soft spot for because one, he came up from the USL and played for LAFC during the heyday of when they came into the league. So, but even without that, like I think the names on paper for what they have fit more stylistically with what they want to do. And you still have guys like Jack Gurr and Danny Vitiello who were, and Lee Desmond for that matter, that were guys that I think can do what Neil Collins wants to do while also bringing some stability to the organization. And so I want to go throw up right now. Don't get me wrong. But from a logical side of my brain, I have to think that they are going to at least potentially be better than what they were last year. And this is a team that, even for all the crap that we talked and the fact that I still don't think they were very good last year, and that's kind of obviously with them losing Orange County, I think I'm kind of justified in that, even though they finished second. They did still finish second in the West last year. And so even with all the issues that I think they had, they still come in and finish second last year. And I think they got better in a sense that they will make more sense on the field this year.
So I went with Lexington as my number 3 team. How many soccer balls do we play with?
2, believe it or not. Actually, there's probably about 20 around the pitch.
But on the pitch, there's only one.
Yes.
And we still only play 11, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and I think Lexington's brought in, 100 stars so far this offseason?
Lexington hasn't brought in as many as other teams. Like, Tampa Bay brought in way more than Lexington. Lexington has brought in more quality over quantity, in my opinion.
But to me, like I said here, I think with Lexington, it's going to take some time for it to gel. And just, they don't, I've got to see it to believe it. to see if it'll work. I think they'll be a home playoff team, but I don't think. Could they finish first? Yes, if everything gels right. But I could see them third, fourth, or fifth as well. But to me, I went with Lexington just because I know everybody seems to love Lexington. But to me, like I said here, sometimes when you bring in that much talent, it opens up other issues.
Yep. Yeah, Christina, who do you got at 3?
I hemmed and hawed over this because I have similar concerns that Jacob has, um, but at the same time, I struggle to find myself just like super high on Lexington. Like they threw a ton of money at their squad last year, and look where they ended up. So I don't know that that's going to be, you know, the answer that they're looking for. So decided Lexington third. And I settled with New Mexico second. I feel like I've never worried about our back line before, but I've always worried about our goal scoring potential. And I feel like the coin has sort of flipped this year. So I'm hoping that maybe that just means that somehow, some way, we're going to eke out, a decent showing this season. I think it's going to be a rough start to the season. I'm going to have to try really hard to not get overly anxious or worried. I anticipate the season being hard to start out, but hopefully, I think they're going to sign Astorga. Hopefully, with Kip getting healthy, that will just help sort of even out things. Plus, it's Sanchez's first go of a squad fully formed by him.
Yep, very true. Yeah,
Harry's not kidding. He really is Team Christina, copying her picks.
I say we're smart. So is Josh.
Yeah. I struggle with the top 3. I did, I have concerns about our health and where we're at, and that's the primary concern, right? And how well do we gel? And then I looked at Lexington. Lexington, again, they threw a ton of money. They promoted Mac, reassigned Mac in December. Mac is the head coach of the men's club now. The club performed well when Mac was in charge here in his interim role. Goes to Lexington women. They put together 12-match unbeaten streak, setting a league record, as well as a plus 15 goal differential during that time period. So Mac has done well in his time with Lexington, and he has super talented players at his disposal. So how do they respond to Mac? Right? That's the big question for me. I don't doubt the talent. I don't have many doubts about Mac as a coach. He obviously put in his time. He's done well in his time as as interim, and also with the women of Lexington. So I don't see enough of a downswing for Tulsa to drop them. I do think Lexington. I do think Tulsa, even though they offloaded 5 goalkeepers in the offseason, I do think Alex is a slight downgrade, very slight. I think Alex will be the number 1. I do think he gets it. Obviously he's gonna get a shot at the record. But I can't put Lexington at 1. I can't. But I think that they are significantly improved over last season.
And I'm going to give mine because Christina kind of went with her. I went with New Mexico as number 2, Tulsa as number 1. Main reason why I went with Tulsa number 1 is they've been extremely smart on how they manage the roster. But I'm a huge Luke Spencer fan, and I think coaching matters at this level. And I think he is probably top 2 in managers. And I think if I'm Tulsa, I'm extremely worried. Number one, if he gets call up to MLS, but number two, if it's what Danny Cruz in Louisville, if Danny Cruz decides to take another job elsewhere, that Spencer would be moving back to Lou City for that here. But I just think just the moves that Tulsa's done. I think that they've got a system that works with Luke. And then for New Mexico, you guys aren't even week 1 yet. So if you're going to have injuries, it's going to be now. I also think that New Mexico has the best ownership group in USL for that here with Peter. And if, and you guys may be able to correct me on this or not, but if New Mexico needs to, fill a hole, Peter will bring in a player to be able to facilitate that. And I just think New Mexico's, because you guys finished second last year, right?
Third,
yeah.
technically.
Third.
We were
Third.
tied with Sacramento for second, but they had the tiebreaker on us.
I just think with New Mexico, because the stadium, well, I guess there might be some rumblings on the stadium from you guys, but the stadium's supposed to be coming next year, right? Or is that going to push back?
It's pushed back in. So we, the 11 people holding this up have filed an appeal. The appeals court could deny it, and then they still have another chance after that.
Go up to the state Supreme Court.
To the state Supreme Court, yeah. And then we
yeah.
have so the lease with Isotopes Park has been extended through 2010, either 2029 or 2030, I believe.
29. It's through 29.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
So, but I just think for New Mexico,
you are right, Harry. If there's a hole, they won't hesitate to go out and fill it, which is why I feel a little bad about where I have them. It's just I feel like we've thought that the back line was a hole for 3 months now, and still nothing has been done. And so I don't think it's not going to happen. I just don't know when it's going to happen.
It is to me, like I said, getting Kip. Like I would have loved to have him in San Antonio, but obviously he decided to go and stay in New Mexico for unknown reasons. I guess he hates Texas, so it means I have to hate him along those lines here.
It definitely sounds like LaCava hated Texas for what it's worth. So
he also hated Charleston, and good luck with LaCava. But
I think he's gonna have a bounce back.
I do too.
I kept saying that too. I was team Jake, and Team Jake let me down.
Just like on the podcast. So I have Tulsa at 2. I don't hate what they did, but I think the two of the more important positions and two of the positions that I thought they were really good at last year with Calhera and Peñaranda, I think they downgraded on. No offense to Tambakis, but when Peñaranda was there, I was like, okay, like that's a great 1-2 punch. Like no matter what's going on, they're going to be solid. And now that he's gone, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Tristan Henry is a solid name to bring in, but he's not at the level of Tambakis or Peñaranda, in my opinion. And Calhera was a rock star for them last year. Cabral is not that, in my opinion. I think Lukic is a goal scorer that is great off the bench and a super sub, but not a starter. And so, not only that, but they lost Arthur Rogers and Trevor Amen, that are both names that I think will be missed, as well as Dalu in the midfield there. So there's just some names there that I think might be slept on as to like, oh man, they lost Calhera. Everybody knows that's a big one, but there's some other names in there that I think they might miss even more than other people realize. I do think Spencer can make up for that, some of that, which is why I still have them at number 2. and I think they're right there with Lexington in 1-2. But I had to put them at 2 because I wanted to make sure that I could talk about the fact that I do think there's some good downgrades there, which means I have Lexington at number 1. I understand your concerns, Harry, specifically about that many changes and stuff. But when I look at what they brought in, like last year, we found out that they were the most expensive roster in the USL, and they missed the playoffs. That's probably going to be close to the case this year. But when you bring in Arturo Ordonez, who I wanted for New Mexico United, you bring in Aaron Malloy, who you said was the biggest loss for Charleston, and I think is a player that can seamlessly fit into any team with anybody around him. I think he's that good. Then you get an attacker like Goodrum to go along with some guys like Marcus Epps, who I'm not a big fan of, but has been finishing lately. My problem with him was he always skied the ball, but he's actually found his finishing boots. You've got the 2 Scott brothers in Malik Henry and Tariq, who are also pretty good there. And then to me, the kind of icing on the cake for me, I wasn't sold with Ketterer in goal, but then they go out and they get Peñaranda from Tulsa, and I look at that and go, okay, now they're in business. And then after I kind of already was sold on them, they go out and add 2 MLS veterans that I'm not thinking are going to come in and be like world beaters, but they're definitely going to be pieces that will make a difference during the long season. And Jonathan Lewis and Javion Brown. And so I just like it. To me, Tampa is a more of a question mark because they, like I said, they are bringing back 3 people, whereas Lexington is bringing back a good chunk, not only like a good solid number, but also like really good guys. Hafferty, Firmino, Burks, they're all guys that I think are a good core. Plus, they're supplanting like some of their downfalls last year with guys like Philip freaking Goodrum and Aaron Malloy and Arturo Ordonez, just to name a few, as well as Peñaranda. So I think they have the talent that the meshing I'm not as concerned about as I was last year with them or this year with Tampa Bay.
I will say this. I do think Lexington wins the title this year, but I don't think it results in. I think it's going to take a little while for all the pieces to mesh. So I think playoff time they're going to be an extremely tough out. But I think regular season wise, I think there's going to be some learning. Some time to gel, I guess is the better word to say.
Yeah, a little bit of a learning curve there. I mean, honestly, the top 4, 5, 6 in the West, I think is going to be an absolute bloodbath. I don't know there. And on Lexington's front as well, I am really big on Mac Hemme. I think we kind of, obviously we got Quill, and so I'm not complaining too much, but there is a chance that letting Hemme out of the building when we had him in the building could bite us in the ass long term, because I picture him as a guy that's good enough to perform at the USL level, but is going to be off the radar, especially if he's got this much talent on this Lexington team. I could see him staying in Lexington for a long time, because teams like MLS teams might look at him and say, well, he's a product of the talent that's there, not necessarily his coaching ability, which I think is bullshit, but I could see that being the case. And so all in all, I really like what Lexington did. I wanted to not be fooled by all the moves, but here we are. I am, unfortunately.
All right. Well, there we have it. There's our predictions, East and West this year. Maybe we're getting a little bit better at this, right? Maybe we know a little bit more.
No, go to the nearest sports book and bet on everybody that we're not saying is going to be good.
Except for Monterey Bay. Let's draw the line on Monterey Bay.
Yeah. Real quick, I have one question for you guys before we get out of here. On both the East and the West side here, who do you think we have the biggest potential, or who do you think you yourself have the biggest potential to be wrong on?
For me, it's Sacramento.
You think they could finish higher, or
Yeah. Like, I think 6 is the bottom for them. And if there's a team that I'm probably too high on, it's El Paso.
If there's anyone I'm too low on, it's tough because I feel pretty confident in my lows, but I mean, if anybody is gonna pull something out of the hat, maybe Rising, and I hate to say that, but I might. There's always a chance I'm too low on them. East, I'm pretty confident, but if I overshot anyone, I think it's Lexington.
For me, West Coast, I think I could be too high on Vegas. Too low, I guess I'll say Sacramento. East Coast, I don't know. It's all just random guessing for me for East Coast.
I think for me, New Mexico, I think could be higher than what I have them, obviously. And I could be drastically wrong on a team like El Paso. I don't have faith in what they're doing, but I didn't have that last year either. And then they finished top 4. And in the West or in the East, I think Sporting Jacks is the team that I think could do much better than I'm projecting, just because I don't know anything about them. And then I could be too high on a team like Tampa Bay. I think that goes for kind of all of us. I think Tampa Bay could be this year's or last year's Lexington, as much as that kind of pains me to say. And I think they're talented enough that I don't think that's going to be the case, but I'm not putting it out the realm of possibility. And Andy is 100% correct. It is all random guessing. We have some knowledge. I think we have more knowledge than most New Mexico United fans, just because there's a lot of us New Mexico United fans. And so by percentages, I think we might know more than that, but more than most, but we also don't know a lot.
So here's my final question for you guys. Odds wise, what do you put USL playing this weekend? USL Championship.
75.
Oh. See, I'm the exact opposite. I think it's 0. I think it. Well, I won't say it's 0 because obviously it's not. I think it's around 10-15%.
I'd give it 25%.
I think 30 at
That
best.
feels a little high.
Yeah, 30% chance to play feels high, especially given the nature of the comments that are coming out from PA. So,
and you know what hurt this is South Georgia Tormenta.
Yes,
because that in I don't think anybody's really talked about it.
I don't think North Carolina helped either.
Well, no, but
Tormenta
South Georgia Tormenta brought in players, brought in families, didn't let them train, and then cut it through there. What makes it worse is the ownership, from my understanding, is ownership offered to, or the league offered to see if the ownership could supplement them for this year, and somehow it came back as a no. So, to me, if you're going to sign players, if you're going to put out a schedule, if you're going to promote the team, and then 3 weeks before the season starts,
14 days.
you're not going to cover NISA covers the teams. Most
Yeah.
leagues would have covered the teams, but the USL ownership won't do it. Won't do it. And to me, that there was already differences, but that was that has to be a huge wake up, because I know I think Shannon Gomez went over there, former San Antonio FC player. There's players that went from USL Championship to League One.
Mhm.
That's going to impact these negotiations, because how can you trust an ownership group or owners when they won't even do right on something that's extremely obvious? Because people moved their families and stuff, and that's I just I think if you're a player, you can't play week 1 and then strike week 2. I don't think you can do that. So if you're gonna strike, it has to be now.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. It's got to be now. It's got to be before the season starts. I mean, I throw it back to 1984. Like, I know MLB stopped in August of that year.
Oh,
But
it killed Montreal. Montreal's no longer a team because of that strike.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Or, pardon me, lockout.
Yeah, it killed Montreal. And I think if there's any sort of significant lockout here, I don't like the premise. I don't like where the league is at going forward. I think it kills Premier, or at least delays it by several years.
Well, Premier's already going to be delayed.
Yeah. So I think this is a really bad sign for USL as an entity. I think it's bad for Championship. It's bad for League One. And like, I know Tormenta said that the academy and the youth programs are still running, which is,
same. Oklahoma City still has that too.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're playing championship football.
No, yeah, you're not playing championship football. I mean, North Carolina, between this and the North Carolina decision, and like, these are two really big blows that are gonna hurt the league's bargaining position, without a doubt. I think 30% is generous on my prediction. Now I know that they've said they're close. Apparently they've reached agreements on a number of things. I honestly don't even see them doing a continuing, right? Or even a partial. Like, hey, here's what we've agreed on. Let's ratify this and operate under the rest. And I don't know if you even could, but Tormenta, the timing of everything really hurt this. And yeah, it's, again, if you strike now, I mean, again, how many matches do you allow to be rescheduled? Because you can't reschedule 6 matches if it goes on for a month and a half. You can't reschedule Open Cup, right? USL, if it goes on for 2 weeks, USL would have to forfeit. Like, it's the ramifications of this, and the league is going to has to step up here and give concessions more than what they have already.
All right, well, it's almost midnight here. As much as I like hanging out with you guys with the quote-unquote start of the new season, and Team Christina for 2026, or at least until she upsets me.
No, we appreciate you being here, Harry. I mean, you are, of course, the 4th member of the show. And you've got the link. You're welcome anytime. Like, you don't have to wait for an invite to be here. We do appreciate you coming on, continuing to do.
Well, now that we've got games that we'll be able to talk, possibly.
Yeah, continue the tradition, of doing our preseason or our season predictions and all of that. But we would love to have you on throughout the season at any point to discuss results around the league, and we can all banter about how wrong we were about each other. So, Jacob, if anyone's got any closing thoughts, now's the time. Otherwise, Jacob's going to close us out.
No? Awesome. Oh, Christina, unmuted.
I'm for bed.
What's up?
I'm for bed. Peace out, guys.
Andrew, Andy, Eric, Josh, Justin, Mama Christina was over there, aka Rosemary. Who else was over there? Oh, Symphonic was over there. Haven't seen that name in a while. Shout out to Danny Rojas.
Harry was over there, and great job, great picks by Harry. Somebody said.
Yeah, somebody did say that. I think, anyways. I thought, I don't know. We don't acknowledge Harry when he's not Team Jacob. So, for those of you that stuck around for almost 3 hours, thank you. For those of you that tuned in for any of the 3 hours, thank you. If you're listening to this at a later date, please rate and review us on the podcast player of your choice, and listen to the whole thing. I think it's worth a listen. There will be soccer played. I have too much faith that common sense will prevail on both sides. And so, Harry, don't shake your head. Just let me dream. Okay. Damn it. But thank you again. We will be back next week, hopefully talking about some soccer. Otherwise, we'll talk about something else. We'll talk about how there's a strike and we'll figure that shit out. But thank you guys so much. Sorry I was late. Thank y'all for starting without me and getting the ball rolling. And then, we will be back. Love y'all. Until next week. Somos Unidos.